I'm giving out one bet for every single fight this weekend at UFC Chicago. You guys already know the drill. One bet. No, we're not picking fights. We're not predicting winners. We're giving out bets and for every single fight, regardless if we like it or not. We're choosing one. Last week, we hit 7 plays on the card, but 5 of those were plus money. And if you're new here and you don't know the first rule for the first fight on every single card, it has to be plus money. We've done it for 4 weeks now, and we have not missed. I think the first one was the Carly Judici fight to end inside the distance, plus 175. The next week, Martin Budai on the money line at plus 245. The week after that, Piera Rodriguez by decision at plus 105. And then last week, of course, Eric McConaughey, plus 150. Call it a robbery. Call it whatever you want. We still smacked it. This last 4 months of doing this show, we've absolutely crushed it, guys. I mean, nobody's as consistent, I promise you. You can look around. Everybody's predicting winners and breaking down fights. We're picking bets, and we're standing behind them. I'm pumped for this card. I absolutely love this show, as you guys know. So we're going to get into it in just a second. No more wasting time. But if you love the show as well and you want to support the channel, I don't want your donations, nothing like that. I don't want your money. All you got to do is go to the App Store and download Better Picks and try to win yourself some money. Picking legs like over-unders on significant strikes, takedowns, finishes. You can build an 8-legger and win up to 100 times your money. The Better Picks in the App Store. Use code Nolan. That's the best way you can support me in the channel. I'm done wasting time. Let's get into the first fight of the night. Got to be plus money. Karine Silva versus Dione Barbosa. Now, Karine Silva just took a loss to Viviane Araujo. And, I've said before, I think Dione Barbosa and Viviane are very similar. They're built similar. Both girls have good grappling and are very physically strong, but both girls also hold some power in their hands, and they're not scared to let the hands go a little bit. And Barbosa is no exception. I mean, we've seen her get finishes in the UFC before. We've seen her, eat some big shots and be able to hang in there. I look at her fight against Ernesta Caracati, who is a much more polished and more volume-based type of striker. She went in there. She didn't outland her, but she got a couple of timely takedowns. She landed the way bigger shots, hurt her on multiple occasions, and ultimately won that fight. She beats Diane Belbita by first-round sub. Her only loss is Miranda Maverick, and Miranda Maverick had to resort to the wrestling to win that fight. Good on her. I mean, could Karine Silva do it here? Possibly. Here's the thing with Karine, though, man. She's kind of been finish or bust. I mean, she beat Ariana Lipski by decision, but, I mean, she had got 5 takedowns in that spot. That's how she did it. Everybody else, Marina Moroz, Ketlin Souza, Poliana Batejo. I mean, these girls are not good, and she's beating them mostly by submission. So you're going to go up against Dione Barbosa. On the mat, Barbosa is a savage. She's very good with her jiu-jitsu, and like I said, she's strong. Karine Silva is super strong. Barbosa, I think, can hang with her a little bit. I think this line is wide at the end of the day. I mean, you're plus 170 on Dione Barbosa. Oh, man. I want to take a dog shot here, but I want to see what that spread's going to be, because I can see Karine Silva really, doing good work in the first 2 rounds and Barbosa coming on late when Karine starts to get tired. So I don't know if I want to lay this plus 170 on the money line. But if the spread is going to be plus money, that's kind of where I'd like to be. Let me see if I can find anything on it real quick. This is one of these that I have not locked anything in yet, because first fight of the night, sometimes these props and these lines come out a lot later than the main card and some of the feature prelims and stuff like that. But let's see if we can find a line somewhere else. I like this fight, though, to kick it off. All right, let's see. Okay, all right, her spread is minus 150. Can't take that. I'm a man of my word. We're taking nothing but plus money in the first fight. Screw it. I'll go Dione Barbosa, plus 170 to kick us off. I'm taking a risk here, but I don't think these two are far apart enough to be minus 205 for Silva and plus 170 for Barbosa. I think this is a much closer fight. So give me the dog, plus 170. The dogs have been treating us right on this first fight of the night for a while now. I think that's what we're going to go with, boys. Cross your fingers, say a prayer. Dione Barbosa, let's get it. All right, next fight up, Brian Battle versus Nursultan Ruziboev. There's spots in this fight that I think Ruziboev could exploit on Brian Battle and have some big moments. First of all, he's super tall, he's super long, and he's very explosive, especially with the right hand. And Brian Battle, as you know, he's tough, he's gritty, but sometimes he's a little bit slow getting going, and he's extremely hittable at times too. The one thing I do like for Bryan Battle is he can be a pretty good volume-based striker. He's got a little pop in his shots. He's super durable, super tough, and super game for a tough fight. But, where I think he's really going to have to shine in this spot is just take the fight to Ruziboev as fast as possible. Get out there in the first round, make it a little dirty, clinch up with him if you have to, just don't get taken down. Let him kind of tire out a bit, and then go to work with that volume. Because Ruziboev has shown he can get hit too. I mean, he just went into a hard-fought 3-round fight with Dustin Stoltzfus. I think Bryan Battle is better than that. I think Bryan Battle is better than his last performance too. When he went out there and fought Randy Brown, he had to resort to some clinching and stuff. He missed weight before that fight. I think he was really, struggling on the scales, just wasn't himself. Maybe he was injured, bad weight cut, whatever, and I think he was getting a little tired. I think he knows he needs a good bounce-back spot because you look at that, man. Bryan Battle was starting to become a bigger name in the UFC and a fan favorite, and he has that performance against Randy Brown, and now they're putting him on the second fight in the prelims, early prelims, of a UFC pay-per-view card, which isn't really the spot you would think that Bryan Battle is going to be. So I think this is a good buy low spot on Bryan Battle, even though he won his last fight by split decision. A lot of people thought he lost. I think this is a good spot for him to come back and show that he's better than that. Ruziboev, I mean, if he lands the big knockout shot, props to him. But I really do think it's going to be Bryan Battle landing a lot more volume here, kicking the leg, kicking the body, getting him tired. I'm going to take a chance with Bryan Battle minus 170. If this line was a little wider, I'd be very inclined to take a shot on Ruziboev. I'm just not super impressed with him. He just hasn't really dialed in his game yet to make me want to take him right now. So, yeah, give me Bryan Battle. He's not going to lose in Vegas to where's he from? Uzbekistan? Kazakhstan? I don't know. One of those. So, Bryan Battle, minus 170. It's going to be the official play. All right. Getting a couple guys that I don't trust very much at this stage. Edson Barbosa. Everybody knows what a savage striker he is and how talented he is. And, he's a guy that can clip anybody still at this stage in his career. The one issue I've had with him is that you can tell he's lost a step. You can tell he's a little bit more hesitant, in some of these fights. The fight against Lerone Murphy. I mean, Lerone Murphy racked up 220 significant strikes on him and took him down 4 times. Edson Barbosa also, when he gets caught on his back, he's pretty, content with just sitting there off of his back, not really urgency to get back to his feet or anything like that. And I don't really like to see that against Klose, because Klose at times will use his wrestling. He'll back you up and put you against the cage and just pressure you like that until he can find trips or find takedowns. And even though he might not be this crazy grappler on top on the ground, he is very strong. And I think he's going to be strong enough to find a lot of control time against Edson Barbosa if he can get the fight down. I mean, you look at Jakar Klose's record. He was on a 4-fight win streak, and then the UFC made him fight Joel Alvarez. Alvarez would knock Barbosa out at this point, too. So no sweat off his back there. Before that, he beats Joaquim Silva, good win. Knocks out Joe Selecki, good win. Rafa Garcia, easy win. Brandon Jenkins, knockout. So, Klose is starting to get a little bit older, but Edson Barbosa is too. And they got Klose right now as the dog. I mean, maybe Barbosa can come out here and clip him, but I don't know. Something just tells me Barbosa is a little bit closer to being done with the sport in MMA in his career than Jakar Klose is. I think Jakar's got a little bit more left in the tank. And he's the dog, so I'm not going to shy away from an underdog pick. Give me Jakar Klose on the money line at plus 114, plus 115-ish. That's what I'm going to go with here in this one. All right. Now we get a banger. Chase the Gooner Hooper taking on Alexander Hernandez. This is a tougher fight for Chase than I think people are giving Alexander credit for. Alexander is actually a super solid fighter. He's had some bad performances, but the guy is very, very technically sound on the feet. The guy can wrestle. And, for the most part, his jiu-jitsu is pretty solid as well. Is it Chase Hooper level? Definitely not. But I think his wrestling could give Hooper problems and getting into that position that Hooper wants to on the mat. And while it's on the feet, Hooper's going to be long and his striking is getting better and he's throwing better kicks. But I think Hernandez is going to have a big speed advantage, and he's going to be able to touch up Hooper a little bit while it's standing. The only problem I see here, and I see for a lot of guys that fight Hooper, is that they get very, very hesitant with their striking in fear of getting taken down or getting tripped up and landing on their back. And now you got Chase Hooper on top of you who looks for arm bars. He'll take your back in super sneaky ways that you don't see coming. And it's super tough for guys to really get their offensive game going. I could see that happening here. Now, we've seen Chase Hooper drop. We've seen him hurt before. And Hernandez definitely has some big power. But on the flip side, we've also seen Hernandez put in some really bad situations on the mat. We've seen him hurt as well. I mean, Damon Jackson took him down 3 times. Bill Algeo took him down. Billy Quarantillo took him down, where he knocked out Alex Hernandez, TKO'd him. Hanato Moicano submitted him. So, yeah, a lot of guys are getting him to the mat. I don't know if it's going to be much difference here. I don't really like this line on Chase Hooper. A little bit wide for my liking. Don't really like taking Alexander Hernandez anytime because he's just so up and down. But what I do like here is this fight to end by finish minus 125. Because let's say Hernandez does clip him with a big shot early and gets him out of there. That'd be great. Let's say he doesn't. I think he's going to get tired and he's going to get taken down. And I think the moment he gets taken down, he's going to be fighting for his life to defend off submissions and trying to not let Hooper get into a more dominant position. And it's going to absolutely wear him out until he's so tired he just gets submitted. So this fight, end by finish, minus 125. That's how I'm feeling about it. I like this one a lot. Let's get it. All right. Lupita Godinez taking on Jessica Andrade. And, this is another fighter where you don't know what the hell you're going to get with her. Jessica Andrade has been vocal about just fighting for paychecks, showing up out of shape, not really training much, all of that stuff. Her wins recently are Madrina Rodriguez, which is a decent win, and Mackenzie Dern, which is a phenomenal win. But her losses, man, Natalia Silva, no sweat off her back. Jasmine Jasdavicius, no sweat off her back. Tatiana Suarez just fought for a title. Zhao Xiaonan just fought for a title. Erin Blanchfield going to be fighting for titles. I mean, these are solid girls she's losing to. And she's beaten girls that are, not quite there at the cusp of that top 5, top 10. But she's losing to all the very, very good fighters. Now, where do you put Loopy in that conversation? Because she's had a quiet, good UFC career. But she just kind of fails to set herself apart from some of these girls, man. I mean, Julia Pilastri was coming back and won that last round. And Loopy's damn lucky she had a good second round. Because if not, she's losing that fight. Mackenzie Dern beat her just by, a couple of takedowns, outstruck Loopy. Don't really like to see that. Verna Jandiroba took her down like she does everybody. And then she beats Tabitha Ricci in a split decision. So, I think Loopy has the skills. Sometimes she gets a little bit hesitant, doesn't let her hands go. She can go to the wrestling. She's used it before. She used it against Julia Pilastri. I mean, I think that's what she's got to do against Jessica Andrade. Because if you play with Jessica Andrade on the feet long enough, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit pretty big. But the path to victory to beat her has just been there all along for everybody. Jasmine Jasdavicius exploited it. And we saw Tatiana Suarez exploit it. Erin Blanchfield. You take her down, you get top position, you wear her down, you land damage, and, she'll give up some minutes. So, all in all, I'd love to take a dog shot on Jessica Andrade. I just don't trust her to be fully committed to fighting the way I would trust Loopy. Yeah, you can't always trust Loopy with her game plans and going out there and actually sticking to it and getting the job done. But, a girl I think is going to be actually ready to fight would be Loopy Godinez over Jessica Andrade. And for those reasons, I'm going to stick with Loopy on the money line, minus 140. Don't love this one whatsoever. I think this is a fun fight. But I think there's a world where Loopy just kind of outpoints her on the feet and mixes in takedowns and gets the win like that. So give me Loopy Godinez on the money line. I know Jessica Andrade is kind of a public dog this week. I thought about it, not really liking it. Give me Loopy. The GOAT of 185. Which one? I mean, we got two of them right here. Michal O and Gerald Meerschaert. This is a clash of styles if I've ever seen one. Michal O is going to avoid the ground like it's hot lava. And GM3 is going to stand there and throw some body kicks and eat some big left hands. Whichever one lands a big shot, a big left hand for Michal O or gets the takedown first, I think is going to win this fight. And, GM3 just has this thing about him. He's got a roller coaster up and down, win-loss type of record. but he looks like he's about to get knocked out every single round one. And then he somehow figures a way to get fighters to the mat and just suffocates you and drowns you, gets you in that body triangle, and he makes it hard for you to breathe, and he's going to, land some little hammer fist to annoy you until he either finds a submission, wins the round, racks up minutes of control time. And we've seen him do it so many times. Edmund Shabazian comes to mind, Brian Barberena, Bruno Silva. I mean, Makhmed Muradov, where GM3 was a massive, massive underdog. He takes that back, gets the rear naked choke in round 2. I'm kind of seeing it the same way as this one, except, hold on one second. My screen kind of froze. Except, I look at the Brad Tavares fight, and GM3 just wasn't taking the shots as well. You could tell every shot was stinging him. Brad Tavares not really known for his big knockout power. Renier de Ritter, landed some decent shots, took him down 5 times. I'm going to pray that, because I'm going to tell you the play I took first. I took this fight not to start round 3 for a couple of reasons. I'm going to pray that Michal O just flatlines him or just completely gasses out trying to go for a finish and GM3 hangs tough, because if that happens, the submission is coming shortly after. So I think this is Michal O round 1 KO or GM3 round 1 or round 2 sub. And, I do think there's a finish happening. It's probably going to happen relatively quick. Whichever one can get to their specialty first is going to get it done. I don't like picking sides on those types of fights, but I'll take this fight to end before round 3 starts. Minus 200. Got to lay a little chalk. Maybe you put it in a parlay, but I think a finish is coming with this one. Not really interested in a side whatsoever, because these guys are volatile, unpredictable, and I'm not really all about being a part of those types of fights. All right, next fight. Bobby King Green is taking on Diego Ferreira. This is a tough fight for both guys, first of all. But Bobby King Green has kind of been thrown to the wolves in some of his fights as a gatekeeper, as a veteran type of guy, where we're going to give these fighters like Paddy Pimblett to King Green so you can go out there and beat him. He's got a big name. He's going to talk some shit, build the fight up, makes the fight that much bigger. And then our prospect gets a dub over him, and we can kind of push him up the ladder a little bit. We saw it with Paddy Pimblett. We saw it with Mauricio Hoofy. They gave him the Jalen Turner. Those are some bad knockout losses. Mauricio Hoofy, bad knockout loss. Jalen Turner, bad knockout loss. Paddy Pimblett submits him in round 1. But Diego Ferreira is not a prospect. And Diego Ferreira is obviously not the fighter that he once was, just because he's a little bit slower. He's 40 years old. Still hits pretty hard and stuff. Has a good ground game. But I think he's gonna get a little frustrated trying to track down King Green. Because Bobby, his chin has failed him, yes, but his head movement's still there. He might have lost a little bit of speed and a little bit of movement, but when you're going up against another guy who's pushing 40 or 40 years old, that head movement's going to start to look a little bit faster again, and I think he's going to rack up a lot of volume. I think he can do damage to Diego Ferreira. We've seen Diego hurt before. We've seen him finished. Not thinking, King Green's going to come out here and flatline him or anything, but I think he can rack up enough volume to where it's going to wear down Diego Ferreira and make this very, very tough. Right now, they got Bobby King Green as the underdog at plus 130. I think this is a buy low spot if I've ever seen one. I think I might take a stab at it. Yes, Diego has looked pretty decent in some fights. The Mateusz Rumbeski fight was getting absolutely butchered until the later rounds. Michael Johnson, he knocks him out flat. But we're talking, that's 2 years ago for the Michael Johnson fight, over 2 years, and over, a year ago since the Mateusz Rumbeski win, and then he got dominated by Grant Dawson. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the underdog here in King Green. Maybe it looks like a bad pick at the end of the day, but I think there's a little value on a little buy low spot for him to get back in the win column. Bobby's game for a fight anytime. So is Diego. It could be a war. I hope it is. But I like the slickness of Bobby Green just a little bit more. I think he keeps this one on the feet as well, uses his movement. Going to look a little faster, like I said, fighting an older guy. Give me the dog once again. All right. Next, we get Kai Asakura versus Tim Elliott. Now, first, everybody sees Kai Asakura go out there and get grappled up by Alexandre Pantoja, and he gets submitted. And people have questions about Kai's grappling, and I totally get it. But at the end of the day, it's Alexandre Pantoja. The guy is an absolute savage. He's the champion. Doesn't look like anybody at flyweights beating him. Maybe Josh Van coming up. Never know. But other than that, nobody's holding the candle to this guy. And Tim Elliott's just not that. Tim Elliott's older now. Tim Elliott's taken some damage. He's been in some wars. And I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but he blew out his knee not that long ago. Tore his ACL, PCL, MCL, meniscus, all of that stuff. That's a bad injury. You can listen to him talk on some of his interviews and media day to where, his confidence just doesn't seem as high. I think he loves the sport and he's still fighting for that, but he's not super confident he's going to go out here and rack up a ton of wins. But Kai Asakura on the feet is going to look so much faster than Tim Elliott, to where I think it's going to keep Tim Elliott guessing on these takedowns and when he should shoot. Is he going to eat a big knee up the middle? Because that's kind of Kai's game. If you want to wrestle him, watch out for the knees up the middle. If you want to stand and bang with him, this guy's going to be faster than you, and he's going to hit you with shots you don't see coming. I think Tim Elliott has to fight a perfect 15 minutes of nothing but wrestling. Screw the striking. Don't even try to stand with him. You better be shooting takedowns, every single 15 seconds, or else you're going to lose this fight, and you probably are going to get knocked out. Now, can Tim Elliott submit Asakura? Possibly, if he gets him down. But I think the more likely outcome is Asakura knocking out Tim Elliott, if I'm being honest. Yes, Tim may have never been knocked out or only knocked out once or whatever it is. But, everybody's chin cracks at some point. We've seen him hurt pretty bad. And Kai Asakura, at the end of the day, we still don't know what he's got at this level as far as striking with guys. But if it's anything like it was in Ryzen, I think Tim Elliott's going to get damaged up and pieced up in this spot. This is another buy low spot on Kai Asakura, or at least a bounce back spot. Maybe not buy low because this guy's a big favorite. This is a good bounce back spot for him to show everybody in the UFC what he's truly made of. And I think that's what he does. Just to play it safe in case he does slip on a banana peel, get taken down, submitted, whatever. I'm taking Asakura and Elliott to end by finish at -110. I think this fight ends inside the distance more often than it doesn't, and you're getting about even money. I like that a lot. So, yeah, fight ends by finish, -110. All right, before we get into Michael Venom Page and Jared Cannonier, we got to put a little dip in. Getting into the good stuff on the main card. A lot of great fights. We got to kick back and get real serious for a minute. Jared Cannonier is a guy who's kind of defied everybody, the age, being close to 40. The guy is still in shape. The guy is still getting wins at a high level in the UFC, not just at any level. I mean, he's beating guys like Gregory Rodriguez, Marvin Vettori, Sean Strickland. I mean, these are all guys that are solid fighters in the UFC. A couple of them, like Gregory Rodriguez, as dangerous as they come, and yet landed a couple knockouts in that fight. But Jared Cannonier just showed to be durable, and he hangs tough. And then all of a sudden, if you can't put him away in the first or second round, this guy's coming, and he's still got power late. The one thing with Michael Venom Page, though, is I just don't think it matters. I think Michael Page is so hard to hit that once Jared Cannonier can't find the big shots, I think he's going to be lost on what he's supposed to do here. Is he going to go out and wrestle MVP? Never really been, at the forefront of his game to go out there and put together a 15-minute wrestling game plan. I think Michael Venom Page movement, too, makes it so hard to get a hold of him. The only guy that really did it, obviously, is Ian Gary. We've seen guys try in the past and have a little bit of success, in Bellator and stuff. But a guy like Jared Cannonier, who normally wants to stand and trade, I think he's going to be swinging and missing a lot and just eating a little jab. And then MVP is going to be bouncing in and out, and he's going to eat another jab. And all of a sudden, he's blitzing in with a big right hand and hurting Cannonier, stunning him. I think that's going to be rinse and repeat this entire fight, if I'm being honest. MVP is older as well. But, the speed hasn't slowed down. The movement hasn't slowed down. I mean, his striking defense has been phenomenal. The only guy to really be able to touch him up was Shara Magomedov, and he really didn't land a punch until, I believe, the second round. And a lot of it was kicks and stuff like that had no significant value on those shots. Ian Machado Gary landed 19 significant strikes. Kevin Holland landed 29 against them. These are all fights that went the distance, over 15 minutes or at 15 minutes. So if those guys aren't touching you well, I don't know if Jared Cannonier is going to be able to. I think the speed's going to be too much. Those reasons, man, you're getting a decent price on MVP here. -175. It's the first time he hasn't been an underdog in the UFC, and it's still not like an outrageous price tag whatsoever. I don't know when people are going to learn, but I think MVP is getting another win here in the UFC, and that's what I'm going to play here. Love Jared Cannonier, but I think this is a bad stylistic matchup for him. All right. One of my favorite fights on the card. One of my favorite fighters. Just saw him in Kansas City lose to Ian Gary, Carlos Prates. I was on Ian Gary, if you remember on the show. Ian Gary -130 was the play on this show. But, he's fighting Jeff Neal here. I learned today that Jeff Neal is still waiting tables at a restaurant. Like, he had a shift today, and he's fighting at UFC 319 this weekend. Very interesting stuff. Or maybe he had a shift whatever the hell it was. It's very close to his fight. And he does it, I guess not because he needs the money, because he likes it or whatever it is, and all the power to you. But, while he's doing that, Carlos Prates is in the gym with the fighting nerds, John Silva, Kyle Bahayo, Michal O. They're now a little bit just working with these insane athletes and good strikers and just very technical, high IQ game plan type of fighters. He's going to be Carlos Prates is going to have a big reach advantage here. He fights very, very long. He throws good kicks. The Muay Thai is super, super good. I think that's a style you need to beat Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal is going to need to get in close to really get the boxing going and land some of his big power shots. I don't think Carlos Prates lets that happen. The problem with Carlos Prates losing to Ian Gary last fight is that Ian Gary wanted to play that outside game too, and he was just letting the hands go a little bit more, and his movement was frustrating, and he mixed in some grappling. I think Jeff Neal's just going to stand there, walk forward, and start trying to box, and he's just going to get his head sent into the third or fourth row at some point in this fight. Carlos Prates needs a bounce back. Losing to Ian Gary's nothing to be ashamed of. Ian Gary also beat MVP and took Shavkat Rakhmonov 5 rounds in a 48-47 fight that was very, very close. So, yeah, the pick for me here is going to be Prates by finish. He's got some jiu-jitsu in his back pocket, training with the fighting nerds, but, the power, the Muay Thai, the kicks, and the insane left hand is something to behold. We've seen Jeff Neal hurt in a lot of fights. We've seen him take tons of damage. And if you're taking shots like that against Carlos Prates, it might not be a super long night for you. So for those reasons, Prates by finish is my official pick. All right. Aaron Pico. Is he going to pull the Marcus Buchecha, the Patchy Mix, the Pitbull, when they all come in and they absolutely shit down their leg with the bright lights? First UFC fight. This is a big stage. All of a sudden, it's a 18,000 person arena that's sold out. Everybody's screaming instead of these smaller arenas for Bellator. And another thing is, the competition's much higher in the UFC. It just is. No shame to any of these other promotions, but, Lerone Murphy, undefeated fighter, fought Dan Ige, Josh Emmett. He's been in some close fights, but he always dogs it out and he pushes through. And, that is a quality I like to see some of these guys have. It'd be different if Lerone Murphy was just coming out here and beating everybody easily and wrestling them, and nobody really had a shot. But Lerone Murphy has had to face some adversity right off the bat. In his debut, he goes to a draw with Zubaira Tukhugov. He's been to split decisions with Gabriel Santos in a fight a lot of people thought he lost, got taken down 5 times. That's a thing that sticks out to me here, is getting taken down like that 5 times against the Gabriel Santos, who's a good grappler. Got taken down 4 times by Josh Emmett, a good wrestler. I don't think either of those guys are on the level of Aaron Pico when it comes to wrestling. Aaron Pico probably could have went anywhere in the country for college to wrestle, but out of high school decided to go and try out and do the Olympic trials to try to make that team for wrestling. And that's the type of level of wrestler this dude is. Decided after that to go to MMA and develop some hands, and the guy is just so naturally strong that his power translated, has some nasty knockouts. He's been knocked out a few times, but again, for him, another good thing is that Lerone Murphy is not getting knockouts in the UFC. Maybe Makwan Amirkhani hit him with that knee, and Ricardo Ramos, but outside of that, every other fight is decisions, split decisions, and sometimes he has to go to that wrestling to really win a few rounds and try to stall out some time. I don't think he has that opportunity here against Aaron Pico. For one, I think Aaron Pico is going to be much stronger than Lerone Murphy. I think his power shots are going to have a lot more sting on him. The only thing here is if Lerone Murphy does stuff some takedowns, maybe he lands a little bit more volume. But at the end of the day, this is a 3-round fight. I think Lerone Murphy is more of a 5-round fighter. And against a guy like Aaron Pico, who can get takedowns on anybody you put out there, I think he's going to be in trouble here of losing some rounds. So those reasons, man, I'm going to go Aaron Pico on the money line. I think he breaks this little streak of these guys coming from big organizations under the UFC and not looking good. I think Pico's ready. I think he's built for this. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. And I think he gets that win over Lerone Murphy. So I think this plus money on Lerone is a little bit of a trap, if I'm being honest. So yeah, those reasons. Give me Aaron Pico. The line right now is sitting at minus 180. It's bounced back from, minus 170 to minus 190, minus 200. Right now it's selling at minus 180. I'm going to take it at minus 180 where it is right now for the sake of the show, because I wanted to wait to see if it went a little bit lower, but here we are now recording. So minus 180, Aaron Pico, that's going to be the official play. Maybe the value's on Lerone Murphy. I'm not really buying into it right now. All right, main event time. I'm nervous for this one. Originally, I was on DDP because plot armor. This dude's insane, right? You can do whatever you want to him. He's going to be there in the later rounds. Maybe his cardio's not like crazy, but the guy pushes through. And the guy makes it tough on everybody he fights. And everybody talks about Khamzat's undefeated. The guy just has smoked everybody basically besides Gilbert Burns, and had a close one in the last 2 rounds at least with Kamaru Usman, but dominated that first. Du Plessis undefeated too, man. The guy is 23 in the UFC, excuse me. The guy is 23-2 overall. The one knock I have on him is that he does get taken down. I mean, we saw Sean Strickland go out there, or no, Sean Strickland didn't take him down. Sorry, Izzy attempted a takedown that was close. Robert Whitaker took him down once. Derek Brunson took him down. Darren Till took him down. So guys can get to him, and none of those guys are on the level of Khamzat Chimaev. The one thing I think Du Plessis has going for him is this is probably the biggest guy that Khamzat has fought. And, he's powerful. He's been training his takedown defense and his grappling like crazy. The striking is never going to be super technical with Du Plessis, but it's effective because he's got power. And I think that's the style that will give Khamzat trouble in those later rounds. I also think Du Plessis is going to be super, super hard to finish once you get him to the ground, because again, he's very strong. He'll work out of bad positions, and he's not going to give up on himself. You're not going to knock him out. Maybe you submit him, but I think he's a very strong guy that's going to do whatever he can to not get into those situations. The one problem, the thing I could see going wrong for Khamzat is that if he doesn't finish him in the first round and a half and starts to get tired and he does get his takedown stuff, I think DDP is going to take a shot to give a shot, on the feet. Khamzat has some hands too, but when he's tired, Khamzat gets a little bit lazy with his chin in the air and his striking defense once he's tired. And if you do that, DDP is going to march forward. When DDP's marching forward, it's going to become harder and harder for Khamzat to get those takedowns. I'm still not super confident on either side, to be honest. DDP maybe at plus 200 for the odds. He's the champion. He's very, very good, and this is going to be Khamzat's toughest fight. But a play that I do like here is this fight to go over 2.5 rounds. I don't think this is as easy as Khamzat just taking him down once, submitting him like Robert Whitaker. Okay, Robert Whitaker has shown he is not the same guy that he used to be. And, he went out there against Kamaru Usman, who's a 170er, couldn't submit him in that first round. Couldn't submit Gilbert Burns, even though he didn't really try. So, yeah, those are guys that somewhat comparable to DDP because they have some grappling and they're strong. But DDP's bigger than both those guys, man. DDP is a massive guy for this division, too. I think it's going to be a tough fight for both guys. Just depends. It's going to be tough for DDP in the first 2 rounds. It's going to be tough for Khamzat after that. I'm going to take it over 2.5 rounds to play it safe. This is going to be a fun one, man. My favorite fight of the year so far. Drop in the comments who you guys got to win this one, DDP or Khamzat. I'm very, very interested to see. I've seen a few guys on DDP. I've seen a lot of you on Khamzat, and that's totally fair on both sides, if I'm being honest. So appreciate you guys once again. If you guys do want to support, once again, go to Better Picks, download the app, use code Nolan. But shout out to the sponsor of the show, BetUS. It is a book you can use in 49 of the 50 states. You get a deposit bonus. I'm going to link it down in the description. So, like I said, I think every state but Washington, you can use BetUS in. You can also use it in some spots in Canada. So if you need a book, if you're in Texas, California, any of these states where you can't get lines on the UFC, BetUS is right up your alley. Shout out to them. They've been a sponsor and a partner for a long time now. And last, if you guys do want to get my premium plays, we have profited in 5 of the last 6 UFC cards, up over 22.5 units on the year. And, people might say, like, that's not very much at all. I'm not out here betting 50 to 100 units a card, okay? We're betting 10 units, 11 units, 12 units. It's all about the ROI. It's not all about how much you're up, because if you're a $1,000 bettor and you're up 22 units, you're up $22,000 on the year. So it's hard to be profitable in this game because the game's unpredictable. But if you want to get all of my plays this week, winnable.com/HOF picks. Use code 319 for new users and get a 7-day free trial. So if you do that now, you're going to get all my 319 premium bets, all of my contender series bets for Tuesday, the whole package. Again, I appreciate you guys tenfold being here every single week. The channel's still growing. The followers and subscribers are coming in. Let's keep it going. Hit the like button. Drop a comment if you can. Let me know who your favorite play of the card is. And subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you can be notified every single time that I go live. Let's get it, boys. This is what it's all about. I say all the time, the UFC has been such an out in my life. I am busy from Sunday to Saturday morning nonstop. I don't go to bed till 2 or 3 a.m. every single night working on this content stuff. I'm up at 6:37 with my 2 kids, getting them ready for school or getting ready to go get some stuff done. I don't sleep. I do this stuff hardcore all the time, and it pays off. Just seeing you guys enjoy this show, it means everything to me. It's what I do it for. I'm super dedicated in this, but the UFC on Saturdays is that one chance to just sit back, relax, enjoy the fights, see if we hit these plays. And I know it's like that for a lot of you guys too. So appreciate you once again. Go like this video, drop a comment. We'll see you guys next week for the China card.